Hello to people who might be watching that video here. Thank you. And this video is going to be the first video in a series of new videos. I hope to get this finished. And these videos are going to be about making a comparison in financial model between, let me see, comparison of actuals and projections. And really, how do we update this financial model? Sorry about a little bit of background noise and outside information. How do we compare the actual data that we get with the data in financial model? Because the financial model becomes obsolete, completely obsolete the first day you operate the plant, maybe before. Now, when we go through this financial model, it's a lot. I'm going to show you the difficulties, of course, maybe not, in interpreting ROE and ROIC in a project finance model. I've been through that many times. Why you need IRR and what you can do about it. We'll talk about presentation issues, which is really the big deal in this whole analysis, and I think it's really important. We'll talk about forecasting methods that you could use to adjust the financial model and do it efficiently and cleanly without making a mess. So here is a tab. I pretend we had a tab. What you'd really have is 20 tabs with silly people who'd say, oh my God, grid lines. Oh my God, I gotta get rid of those grid lines. Okay, now I'm leaving it. This is our financial model. This is our original financial model, and we thought everything would work perfectly. And we have a debt schedule, and we can get down to a balance sheet. It's important we have a balance sheet. When we go down and we finally compute the ROE and ROA, we always have this problem where it starts to skyrocket at the end, and at the beginning it's always less. There's the equity return, it's always less than the initial. We could um, reconcile this using this weighted average technique that I talk about, or we could do a little bit of alternative accounting. And in our alternative accounting, we can recompute depreciation with the PPMT function. And I'm going to just cheat a little bit. If the, excuse me, if the EBITDA is constant, only if that, so this of course, I press Shift Control R because I hope I hope one person opens the generic macros, and then in this case, I kept the EBITDA the same, okay, and I kept the EBITDA the same, and our project IRR is 7.27, and this return should be exactly 7.27. I had the formula button off, so the project IRR here, okay, I'm going to press Shift Control 7, not a generic macro one, just a regular old one. That's our project IRR. And if we compute, you could call it economic depreciation. I'm going to call it alternative depreciation with the PPMT function. Unfortunately, using the IRR itself, so there's a little bit of not Excel circularity, but philosophical circularity in this process. Then we get a revised EBIT after the alternative depreciation, and we get a net return on capital that's consistent with our project IRR, and we can compute the return on capital in our plant. And we can compare that return on capital. You can also do this with the remaining depreciation. You can kind of compute the same sort of thing by taking the remaining life. We'll talk about that one in another video. Okay, and then we get our actual financial data. We only get it through 2013. Now, you might want to make this, so you want to make this whole thing work, so you can make all your graphs, do all your analysis, and just enter. I should have put a lot more things in this one, but if we only had 2012, we want all our graphs and all our analysis and everything else to work really flexibly, so we just can put new historic years into the analysis. Now, once we've done this, we can make actual versus forecast, okay, for all these years, our financial model. And so this is the EBITDA we had in the financial model, and this is how much revenue we lost, and this is how much, then we put a subtotal, and then we do all of this. Now, when we do that, we can make a kind of build-up chart. We can make a waterfall chart, and in the waterfall chart, I made a couple of very minor changes to this. I'm going to make a major change to it, and I haven't done that yet. We can put, oops, I'm just going slowly here. We can put whatever title we want in that one. We can increase maybe the font just a bit. Okay, did I do that? I thought I did. And we can change all the format, of course. Come on. Now, that was kind of silly what I just did, but and then we can make our waterfall chart really flexible, so that when we can see what the actual is compared to the forecast for different years. Okay, oops. Alright, so we can just take our waterfall chart and put different years in and kind of give our management a picture of what's the variance between our actual and our forecast. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you. Welcome to.
Okay, great. Excuse me, I'm not turning my video off just for that. So we'll put our actuals in separately, and we can make the actual versus forecast. Now, the big deal in this video is going to be coming up with all sorts of different techniques. We could use the last year of the forecast, the last year of the history. We'll come up with all different techniques to make our forecast versus our actual. Okay, and then we can also, kind of show which, so that now we're combining in a third sheet. We're making a third sheet and a third analysis, and we're going to combine the forecast versus the actual, and we can, make a little conditional formatting on this, so that we go to the left. We go to the left-hand side. We say, well, if this number with the F4 just on the 2 equals true, then let's just kind of make it a different different color, okay? Alright, so we compare our actual and our forecast. When we put a new forecast in, we can see this. Now, once we've done that, we're going to go to the make some graphs, and when we make our graphs, we were going to figure out how to pull the data from different sheets. We have to be very careful to keep the names the same, and then we'll use the match and the index, and we'll graph, and we'll make our graphs as either a raw data or a percentage of generation and things like that. So we can compare raw data, we can put it as a percentage of generation, a percentage of the forecast, and we can look at all of our expenses. Uh-oh. Okay, I've got to do that. That's very bad. Okay. All right. Well, so that's why we'll have some additional graphs, and then we can also present our graphs just straight from the financial model, and we can show actual versus history. So that's an introduction, and now we're going to have a whole another video just on why you might want to compute this economical or alternative depreciation. That's a more technical one. And then we're going to kind of show in detail a little bit how to compute that waterfall chart, make it all nice and flexible, and make a graph when we get our actual data in. And then we'll show you how to make the forecasts. And finally, we'll add a scenario page that demonstrates different forecasts and kind of is good for making a presentation and making a further analysis of the value of the company and what impacts, what are the things that really change the value of a company. So that's our actual and forecast, and that's the remaining videos.